people deserve value and they deserve care and love. I will do that in my company. I will do that in my nonprofit. I will do that I don't care where I am. I can do that regardless of where I am in terms of leadership. You can impact people and make your culture great by playing, I think, a huge part by having that, just thinking that idea in your mind of, I'm going to care.
Welcome to Cause and Effect, a podcast brought to you by the Dunham Podcast Network.
Here, we will provide a fresh voice that breaks down the most recent leadership lessons, fundraising trends, and the ups and downs within the nonprofit industry.
And our goal? Increasing your effectiveness for more impact.
Hey, welcome to this episode of the Cause and Effect Podcast. I'm Trent Dunham, the president and CEO of Dunham+Co, and our guest today is Brian Mountjoy, Chief Culture Officer at Dunham+Co.
Hello.
Welcome.
Excited to be here, Trent.
We're going to talk about culture or stuff related to culture.
It's going to be a little shotgun approach, as I always say, when I have so many thoughts that are all over the place. But the common thread as you listen to this is think about the culture that weaves in through everything that we're going to talk about.
That's good. I was thinking about culture the other day. I was thinking about my own life experience in culture. Okay, so some people may not know this, but I was an athlete at one point.
You were?
I was an athlete at one point.
Amazing.
I played American football.
Thank you for making clear that.
Well, you know, it's World Cup season, so I think you need to be clear. I played American football starting in junior high all the way through college.
Excellent.
And I was thinking back on that experience and two very distinct experiences of my football career. One, in high school, went to a very large public school, high school. Was a middling player in high school.
No, more than that.
Was always asked to be the guy to pray before the game. Had like one guy in particular that would come up to me like, "Hey, can you pray for me?" I'm like, "Why me?"
Which says a lot.
Hey, well, because you know God best. I'm like, well, I don't know, bro. Like, this isn't gonna change. You're not gonna play better. But okay. It's an open door. Big public school, kind of the meat grinder. Kind of got lost in the shuffle. I appreciated loved my teammates,
yes.
Loved being part of the team, but really didn't have any meaningful relationship with the coaches or anything like that. It was very much the program. Wasn't quite varsity blues level, but I think you understand what I'm talking about. Was fine. Didn't take away any lasting relationships. Had my position coach was great, and that's kind of the only thing I remember meaningful from that experience. College. Played in a much different culture in college. Smaller school, Division III, so that
you're still playing though.
You can assess my talent level by the division I played in, which was 3, not 1, and tight knit community, tight knit group of guys. Even from my incoming freshman class, I'm still on a text string with 12 of the guys I played football with in college to this day, and I'm 26 years out of college. Definitely feel tethered to that experience. Felt seen in that environment, given opportunities to lead, even though I wasn't necessarily an on-the-field leader guy, like wasn't the leading tackler or anything like that, but given a chance to lead within like small group settings and stuff like that. And saw my head football coach at a event he was doing in Dallas 18 years after I graduated. Hadn't talked to him since. Big bear hug. Trent, how you doing? Tell me everything that's going on. If I ran into my high school head coach now, he couldn't tell me from Adam. Like he would not be able to tell who I was. Two distinct cultures, same purpose that those entities existed, which was to play a sport, to be successful on the field. And two very different experiences I walked away with. The culture of one, it wasn't necessarily toxic. I wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But it was aloof, maybe would be the best word. The other environment was very intentional.
Wow.
We won more with the aloof. We lost a bit more. That had more to do with the talent level, probably. But my whole point is there were two very distinct cultures. And I remember I took away with, I have life lessons I've learned and live and that inform the decisions I make and the things I do from college. I have memories and things I took away from high school, but not nearly to the degree. So when we talk about culture and experience, and part of what I give you that example, if you're watching or listening, to say, this is a very basic example of what we mean when we talk about culture. What are the things in an environment that enable people to be all they can be and recognize them for who they are, give them opportunities to succeed. So that was my experience playing American football.
That's good. And there's so many lessons. I think when we look back at the history of our lives and we can remember things like that, it really is helpful for where we are at now.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love that. The culture, and it's interesting because the last 48 hours, I've written down 4 times where people have talked about culture, either on TV, the radio, and if some of it was coach speak, saying, a new coach saying, we got to change the culture of our team. And then the next coach comes by 2 years later, we're going to change the culture of this team. Yeah. So there's definitely, that's usually what they talk about first. I heard someone on the news today, a superintendent said, the culture of our school is incredible. And then I'm wondering if it really is. But even when you were talking about your experience playing football in high school and college, first of all, I love the culture that you had when you were playing in college, that it was lasting and memorable. And even in your high school, that for whatever reason, however you were living your life, there was something that was different from you that a coach would always ask you to pray, before a game or after practice or whatever it might be. And I'm looking back even farther back in the day when after football was invented, about thinking about someone on our football team in 1978 that was the culture, that was a kind of a cultural force on our team. And it was a guy in defense. And I remembered it. I said, it's Rocco. And I haven't talked to Rocco since 1978. But his personality and the way he talked to people and how he worked his tail off and all these attributes he had, and was really well liked. And he cared for the other people on his defense. I mean, he cared for the other people. And that's what I remember. He was the heartbeat of that defense. And I love that we can actually be that wherever we are. Not just you and me, Trent, but all the people listening to this, that you can have an impact within the culture of your organization.
And I was a participant in those cultures. I didn't set that culture. I didn't. So I'm in a different position now, leading a company. But in that moment, I was a participant, and I was able to inform 2 very different cultures by my participation or leadership within those cultures. So as an employee or a participant or a congregant, we don't always get to choose the culture that we live in, but we can choose how we operate within that culture and how we contribute to it.
That's so good. And even looking back again, it may not have been athletics. It could have been drama or arts. It could have been band. And there's a lot of other places where God, I say, has placed us. And we can learn a lot from that. I mean, I remember back, even to go even farther back.
I mean, you're kind of giving away how old you are, man.
Yeah, but I was in Boy Scouts, and I started when I was 11 years old, right after my 5th grade year. And I remember this thing that happened in Boy Scouts, and I'm going to call it the Boy Scout bow.
Okay.
Because it really kind of helped me think about other people. And I think if you want to have a good culture in your company, you really need to think of other people and how you can care for them. Also focus on yourself. So I was in Boy Scouts as an 11-year-old, going to my Boy Scout troop meeting on Monday night at Squaw Peak Community Covenant Church.
That's this is a mouthful, bro.
It is a mouthful. And I was a new scout, and every new scout for their first Monday night was going to be introduced by another scout that was already in the troop for Boy Scout talk. And there's 80 people. It was a big troop.
Oh, wow.
And so it was my turn for Mark Green to introduce me. And basically you say, Scouts, this is Brian Mountjoy. And you introduce one person at a time, and you walk up, and then you walk off the little stage area. So when it was my turn, Mark Green said, I'm going to introduce you. And then he said, oh, by the way, you need to bow to everybody after you're introduced. Like you bow to the side, and then you bow to the people in front, and then you bow to the people, all the scouts, high schoolers, junior hires, and then even the little 11-year-old, and then bow to the scoutmasters behind you. So here he says, he goes, Scouts, Brian Mountjoy. And then I started bowing because
I wish I was in that room.
An idiot. I was gullible, but I was also this little
kid. You were 11.
They all started laughing.
Of course they did.
The whole just laughing, and my body just fell. My heart just dropped. And afterwards, and I ended up staying in that troop. Terrible, traumatic experience of just being laughed at.
Yeah.
I sat back in my chair and people were, I said, even as an 11-year-old, I will not do that to people that are younger than me.
That is a core memory that you had, was developed by Mark in that moment.
Yeah, Mark Green.
You remember the name and everything.
I will be kind. I will care.
That's good.
I'm not going to let that humility, and I say someone younger, I mean, I was thinking about just people need to be cared for.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that to someone else, is what you resolved in your heart in that moment.
Yeah. So that's kind of, that's what I'm saying. If you think back personally, you, Trent, or other people, how you've been hurt or ashamed or made fun of or ridiculed for the way you look or the way you talk or whatever it might be, that's hurtful. Now, if you can use that and say, people deserve value and they deserve care and love, I will do that in my company. I will do that in my nonprofit. I will do that I don't care where I am. I can do that regardless of where I am in terms of leadership. You can impact people and make your culture great by playing, I think, a huge part by having that, just thinking that idea in your mind of, I'm going to care. So,
man, I feel horrible for you as an 11-year-old in that moment. I mean, honestly, I'm sure it was funny for everyone else in the room. And I can completely understand how it was. I'm sure there was an experience you had before that to even inform that. So it was completely life-altering for you.
Well, I was an idiot. I didn't know I was an idiot.
Oh, Mark, the bully. The Boy Scout bully.
Yeah.
You need to write a children's book.
Hope you listen to this and know I've been
bully.
suffering for that long.
But I think your point is a good one, which is, do your experiences inform your current reality? Like, do what you've experienced, does what you've experienced in life, positively, negatively, do you allow those things to inform how you operate in the way, not just that you treat people, but the tone you set when you walk in a room, the type of attention you give to people? That I was actually asked to speak on a panel a couple of weeks ago for an organization that was having like a leadership retreat kind of thing, and they brought in 3 CEOs, and I happened to be one of them. And it was a panel on like leadership, and they were asking questions about kind of just how what does that mean, and what do you do, and all that kind of stuff, and how, just trying to equip their team. And one of the last questions they asked in this session was, what could we do better to make the people that we interact with, basically our customers, feel more loved by us?
Yeah, great question to ask.
And my response was it does align with you. I said, you know what? I learned a long time ago by example, not by words, but example. I've worked with a very prominent person for a number of years now. In my first interaction with him, I mean, I was nobody. But when I first met him, he gave me a big hug, and then he asked me questions, and I felt like I was the only person in the world to him for that 15-minute conversation, and it was in a positive way jarring. So my response to that question for the organization that we were kind of speaking to their leadership team was on, when you're in a conversation with someone, be fully present. Don't be the person looking over the hey, how are you? But I'm looking over your shoulder trying to see if there's someone more important down the way that I should be talking to. And I think the temptation oftentimes is, especially in today's culture, the me culture, the look at me culture, is how do I position myself to be seen or to be a known influencer or whatever. But part of the point you're making is how do the people that we have purview over, whether they're in our company or we're anywhere we are, how do we help them to feel like they're the only thing in that moment? How do we give them our undivided attention? If I'm in the middle of something in my office and someone walks in, do I stare at my screen and tell them to talk and give them leftovers? And none of us are perfect on that. None of us bat 1,000. But if that is a goal of ours, what does that do to the environment around me if that's the way that we consistently operate?
God, it's so impactful to do that. And there's so many simple things that we can do to impact a lot of people in your company or just one person. And I would keep thinking the opportunity for all of us to be able to do that. I mean, it's there, it's open, it's there for us. And we have to just be aware of it.
Yeah.
I say even something the last, I'd say 10 days or so has occurred in the office. And all it took me to do is make copies, about 10 copies, and using about 20 pieces of Scotch tape. Big investment, monetarily invested for our company.
7 pennies.
And it has to do with the guy in our office. His name is Jarrett. And he's going to Baylor University. I think he's starting his second year. Third year. And we are in this fantasy baseball league, which is another great thing you can do for those people who are interested, for 10 or 12 people who want to join a fantasy baseball league or football league. So we look for people in our company who want to participate in doing that. Well, we just happen to be in this fantasy baseball league. And the people winning that league right now are me and Jarrett. And I just wanted to make sure that Jarrett knows that I want to win. And he definitely wants to win as well.
Yes.
So understanding him a little bit more, you probably know him a little better, but understanding him a little bit more, for the past 10 days when I finally overtook him and became a first place team, I made a copy of the statistics showing me in first and him in second, copied him, and then taped him to his monitor on his desk. And I make sure
he loved it.
that I do it before he gets here in the morning.
Yeah.
So when he gets here, he sees that. And I've seen his reaction a few times, but today I really watched closely. Now, there's a reason I do that. I hope he's not listening to this because then, great. But I care for Jarrett because he is a human being and he's to be valued. And he just happens to be working here at Dunham+Company for the summer, actually during the year too. So I watched his face this time, and I got in a little place, and I saw when he turned around to walk into his little desk area, and I saw his face when he saw the standings, knowing that who his reaction would be. And the face is worth it to be able to impact someone. He looked at it, and then you saw the smile beginning to occur. More of a snarky smile.
I can imagine.
And then a little shake of the head. And then a little eye roll. And then he looked up, and I saw him, and I gave him a thumbs up, and then I walked there. But to see the face, because we want to connect with people. And like you just said, do people see me? Do they know me? And I love that. It's so simple to do. You're going to have to do a little something, like use scissors to cut something. And actually, it's so simple. But I think about it, I just got to keep being in first place. But I only have like 4 days left before he goes to Baylor. And hopefully I'll stay in first.
I love it. I think that's great. You talk about small things we can do. We recently did a all company offsite. And so it's not often that we get the entire company together, twice a year, mid-year at this offsite, and then at the Christmas party. And so we fly in people from all around the country, and it's our one chance to be together, well, twice out of the year. And one of the things I was determined to do this year is to avoid carpal tunnel while writing, because I don't write that much, but I did. I handwrote a note to every employee, and I tried to personalize it to each of them. And the point of that was, number one, to what you're talking about, is they are seen and heard. It wasn't a long letter because I definitely would have had carpal tunnel then. But what I wanted to communicate was that I'm appreciative and I care, and that they are an important part of what we're doing in their own unique way. Did I have to say yes? My assistant actually blocked time on my calendar to handwrite notes for like 3 different days in different parts of the day so that I could get it done, because it took time, but it wasn't hard. But I think the outcome at the end of the day was worth it. And So to your point is like whatever role you're in or whatever environment you find yourself in, what is something that you can do? And it doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just something that you can do to impact the people around you.
Yes.
And sometimes it's literally just your presence.
Yes. What a great, Trent, that was great. I don't think all of them said the same exact thing.
No.
You didn't just get a stamp and stamp it on to the next one.
Yeah.
They weren't, that takes so much, I think it's very emotional to do that, to sit down and write a letter. It takes the time to do it. You got to think through it. You got to actually write it, have your hands sore, but they're probably specifically written for those specific people about specific things about them that are really great about them. How many people do that? I know if you're 10,000 people in your company, you can't do that,
right.
But you did it for everybody.
Yeah. But
no one does that.
It was manageable. It was not complicated, but I think it accomplished what I wanted it to, was again just to make sure that people understood that they're a valuable part of our company. It was one way that we could do it. We do it in other ways too that are corporate for everyone to experience, an individual, and all those kind of things. But whatever context you're in, thinking about how, besides just a one-on-one conversation where I help them to feel like they're the only person in the room, what are other ways that we can help people understand the value that they bring, and not just in what they do, but who they are.
I saw a turnaround in even you, Trent, and it happened after a Christmas party.
Yeah.
And I just think I don't know if you were just really completely aware of it.
Yeah.
And it was probably 8 years ago. I'm not even sure. I keep saying probably. I don't know. It was at least 6 years ago, probably 8 years ago, at a Christmas party. And it was, the theme was Academy Awards, Oscars, and we were presenting awards to the people that were in the office. It was really great. The food is great. Venue was great, but we were all in one big room packed together. And you're standing in the back of the room during the program with a couple other people, but you were there, you were present, but you weren't necessarily present.
Yeah.
And you were in the back. And I remember, I think you told me afterwards that you said you got reamed out by your father, who was running the company at that time, and now you are.
Yes. This is like a decade ago, more probably.
But you were reamed out, meaning you were, again, Trent, and it could have been your mom and dad both saying
Probably.
that. And they were saying, if you're going to be there, you need to be there. And don't stay in the back, but you need to be active. It doesn't mean getting up to, just you need to be part of what's going on. And you changed big time since that.
Had a decision to make, right? And I think that's where good accountability you have to have in your life from someone.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to listen to it, but willing to act on it too. But you can't act on something you don't know. And we all have blind spots. I think the lesson there is, do you have someone in your network, in your life, that will call out blind spots? Because we all have them. And then when they do, are you willing to make a change on it? It's just, are you willing to do it for the greater good?
But you did. And that's really a maturity of a leader. You know, he's saying, if you want to lead, you need to do this. You're not leading by doing that. And it's just a change of a mindset and a shift of thinking. It was just the openness and the vulnerability of sharing that was a big deal.
That's good.
But you have been so proactive of making so many great efforts.
Yeah.
And you are. I think people would say that you are genuine and that you are authentic. And we are different. You and I are very different. But with that stuff, I think people would say, Trent and Brian are very different, but they are genuine and they are authentic. And when they say they're going to do this, they're going to do this. And for you as a leader, and it's a huge thing for culture, when you make a mistake, you're going to own up to it. You're going to tell the people, I'm sorry. You're not going to find any other excuse. And you're just going to take it and you're going to share it, and then you're just going to move on. And when people see that, we've talked about that before here, but that didn't happen as well. So you want a great culture in a company? These are all these things you should do. You can do.
Yeah. So maybe share with us one final story for us.
I have so many to share.
I know, but just one more, just about culture. How you become a culture. How you talked just now about being genuine and authentic.
Okay, I
Give
got
us
an authentic
a genuinely authentic story.
Goodness. Okay. You just need to, I think you need to let people into your life.
Yes.
That does not mean you talk about all the great things you've accomplished, from age, 10 all the way to my age right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not what I'm talking about. Be vulnerable. For example, when my mom had her 91st birthday party in May.
It's a lot of
Everyone
years.
in the office probably knew I was going to see my mom for her 91st birthday. That's old.
Yes, correct.
I guess it's kind of old.
It is.
So I'm telling people about it. Actually, I'm actually calling my mom up before I even see her in Phoenix, Arizona, on speakerphone, walking around the office. Hey, Mom. I'm walking around the office and, hey, you want to say hi to everybody? Why not do that? It works for our office, and for me to do that, it may not be the best thing for you to do, but they're seeing me being a little open, authentic with my mom and talking to her. So that's something was really fun to do. And sometimes I'll share, and then I shared pictures on, emailed pictures to everyone in the office about my trip to Arizona with my mom. So there's some things you can do. There's just some small things like that. You got to be authentic. People in our office at least can tell if you're a phony.
Yes.
And I keep saying the word authentic. That's one of the things I value, is just to be authentic.
Yes.
Be authentic. Just because that's what you need to be. I have officiated several weddings.
Yes, including mine.
And I love to do that. And sometimes I get emotional at weddings because it's really an intimate place and there's people. It's just a great experience to be able to officiate people's weddings that and you get to talk about and things like that. So, and I'm usually going to start crying, not blubbering, but just get tears in my eyes, and people can tell by the inflection of my voice. Like I already shared this with my Boy Scout bowing. That was tough. I had one person one time, the mother of the groom came up to me at the rehearsal dinner and said, "Hey, Brian." I go, "Yes." I'm not going to say any names about this one.
Yeah, that's good.
I've been to a couple of the weddings that you've officiated on, and I see you kind of get emotional at these weddings. I really want you to be able to this wedding, if you can cry during the wedding. So people
on demand?
On demand. I'm going, oh my gosh. I didn't put my head down.
How good an actor are you?
I'm going, I told her, hey, if it happens, it happens.
That's right.
And I've told people that story and they cannot believe it. And also, everyone will know it's such a faking crying thing. It needs to be authentic. And I've always...
Wait, I have a question. Did you actually cry at that one?
I don't remember. I'm sure I got teary-eyed and then I don't know. But I felt the pressure now. I have to get...
Yeah, it's such a weird request.
Don't do that. So I remember that story, and that's just driven home the point. If you want to have a great culture in your company, in your family, anywhere you are, just be authentic.
Yeah.
And just care for people.
That's right.
They want to know that you care for them. Be authentic with that. So I have so much other story. I got some more stories, but
I think it's a great place for us to land the plane, which is when I started talking about, my two experiences and the cultures of my two different football teams. One was uber authentic. One was authentic in its own way, but it certainly was surface level. And part of what you're talking about is just the authenticity. You're able to go to the appropriate level of depth in a relationship when there is authenticity. And when it's just surface level, it's really impossible to make any progress in that. So I think the charge to each of us is just in the environment that we are placed in, the people we have purview over, or the people that we influence that are peers, or even when we're leading up, is being genuine is one of the greatest contributions we can make to a culture that we either lead or that we operate within. So
amen.
Maybe that's the takeaway for our conversation today, or at least one of them. Thank you for joining us today.
Anytime.
Thank you for joining the Cause and Effect podcast, and meet us again here next time.
And thanks for listening to the Cause and Effect Podcast, a resource developed by Dunham+Co.
We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new episode. In the meantime, do us a favor. If you like this content, subscribe, share us with a friend, leave us a review on your podcast provider, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Dunham+Company to help us spread the word.
Thanks again, and join us next time as we work together towards increased effectiveness for more impact.